like it like hurts my heart a little bit because I'm thinking of myself in times wanting to be like a really good therapist and do DBT by the book. But like, if we take a client that you're describing, a client who has problems with executive functioning, which like, one of the things that you had said was basically like anything that's not neurotypical is neurodivergent. So like thinking of our clients who are coming in, even if they don't have an ADHD diagnosis, they probably have a complex PTSD diagnosis that, impacts your ability and so many things, depression, like all of these things. When you have hot emotions, it makes it hard to concentrate and it makes it hard to do all of the daily tasks of life, right? So let's say this client comes in and they have trouble getting out of bed. They didn't come on time. They didn't have their diary card done. They missed group and they won't turn their camera on and they didn't do their homework. We're going to spend, this is what wouldn't be wrong in one hand in DBT, right? Like we're going to spend the whole time on all of that, like as opposed to the other things that are going on in your life. And again, like to be truly a really good DBT therapist I think is being able to look at the protocol and the targets, but also step back, zoom out, and be able to see the whole picture and think like, all right, like how's all of this functioning, and what the heck, like what is going to change for this client if we spend every waking hour on their executive functioning, but we don't talk about the fact that they are, struggling with like an eating disorder or like their PTSD symptoms are coming up, things that wouldn't rank as high in the hierarchy of DBT. It's important to consider all of the context in that and to be able to think out of the box.
I think we run into a lot like a chicken egg scenario where it's like, okay, if we focus on the executive function piece, like we need some of those basics addressed to get to the deeper stuff.
Yeah.
But often we need to address the deeper stuff because that's what's really affecting the executive function.
Yeah.
So I talk with my clients a lot about zooming in and zooming out. And we're just constantly like into like the super focus about what we're doing here. But then let's take a step back and we're also looking at the big picture. Big picture, we want to take care of all of you. And in this moment, we want to take care of like, did you get out of bed and feed yourself today? Okay, big picture, let's talk about the depression. Small picture, like, have you drank water today? And we're just constantly doing that like ebb and flow of it.
Yeah, I think like you said, when you had said that, I think you said on my podcast, you were talking about the permission around the planner thing. And it's so funny to me that's like, here I am, a therapist with a whole ass master's, and I have all these businesses, and I'm like an expert in this, and I'm like, oh, it never occurred to me to just let myself not have like one system for doing X, Y, Z. And then I think about how that impacts my work with my clients as a therapist. If I'm just like, well, this is the only way, like I'm using the diary card example, but it's like, this is the only way, this is the only diary card. Like we can't look at other, but then when you're like, oh, and then thinking about how that makes the client feel like I can't get it right. Or even me, like it feels silly, but it's true. The anxiety of, why can't I get this together? Like, how do I not know what notebook to use? And you being like, no, you need to like, just realize that's how your brain works. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And so I feel like it's so important to think about that in our clinician chair, that in a way being more affirming in the neurodivergent space is really like trusting, like letting go of getting it right and trusting your instincts as the clinician to this person. Like, okay, if I'm working with Jamie, I need to trust that I have enough skill to go with what I think, as opposed to what all of these books say or what undergrad school taught me and things like that.